Well, the best career advice I have received is to have the yes attitude. See, my mentor, Maria Elena Salinas, told me this when I was in a moment in my career where I felt stuck. And she said, Mariana, in this moment of your life, you need to say yes to everything that comes your way, even things that you think that you're not equipped for, that you're not ready for. Just say yes, because that attitude will open doors that you didn't even know existed. And that actually helped me slay the imposter syndrome, because if you notice, every time we get promoted at work or that we get told about a new opportunity, many of us, women especially, we say, I'm not ready for that. I don't know that I can do that. I think it's a mistake that they're promoting me. With the yes attitude, lady, you will be armed to slay the imposter monster.
You know, it wasn't necessarily advice that was given to me. It's just advice maybe that I gave myself of making the decision that ultimately any career risks I make is really just betting on myself. I absolutely trust that if I fail, I have the intelligence and the capability to recover. And if I win or I succeed, I have the grace and the team and the capability to navigate what a successful career might look like. So ultimately, how I show up in a room isn't necessarily dependent on every other factor that could determine my success or my failure. It's really me showing up for myself and having full trust and confidence that I'm going to give my best, and whatever way this goes, I'll be able to still show up and still move forward with all of the values that I personally hold.
The best career advice I ever got came to me through a book. And it came to me through a book written by a psychologist named Nancy McWilliams, who I do happen to know and whose work I admire tremendously. And in the book, Nancy was talking about how we help patients who struggle with perfectionism. And I myself have certainly struggled with perfectionism, as I know many women have. And what Nancy was talking about in the book is that part of how we help other people who struggle with perfectionism is we show them that we can actually be conscious of our own mistakes, aware of our own mistakes, in fact, bothered by our own mistakes, and yet continue to hold ourselves in general high regard. And this has been incredibly powerful for me when I make mistakes, which I do most days, is that I try both to acknowledge the mistake and learn from it and not make it again, but also to remember that just because I've made a mistake doesn't mean I can't otherwise hold myself in a reasonable level of regard and to appreciate myself and know that there's a lot I get right. And especially given that so much of my work is with girls and women, I have worked really hard to get much more open about my own efforts to both accept and acknowledge and learn from my mistakes, and side by side with that, feel okay about myself anyway.
Keep the main thing the main thing. Try and figure out what that main thing in your life is, whether it's your family, your friends, your goals, your passion, and always remember what the main thing is. It's too easy to prioritize the urgent over the important. And so the advice, keep the main thing, has been something that's always stuck with me.
I've had a lot of different folks that have taught me, mentored me, sponsored me, and so I will give what feels most recent. I won't say it's the only best career advice I've gotten, but one of my mentors at Target, when I came into this role to do diversity and inclusion at Target, and the way that I look, right, I was starting to see these things happen where I'd be like at the gas station and people would call my name and I didn't know who they were, right? And I started to feel like everywhere I went, people knew who I was, and I was like, why are you talking to me, right? And it comes with the job, but I'm an introvert, right? Like I like to be at home, and so when you're in the line at Olive Garden and somebody's like, are you Caroline? And I'm like, who are you? I'm getting Zuppa Toscana. So anyway, I was talking to one of my mentors at Target, and this is gonna sound mean, but it's not. And so I was talking to him, I'm like, how do you deal with this? Like, how do you deal with this? Do I gotta watch my back everywhere and Target people are everywhere I am and they're gonna tell on me? And he gave something that's really simple and jovial, but real. And he goes, look, Caroline, you live in Minnesota. You look like that. It's your fault people recognize who you are. Who has that hair? Who has these glasses? Who has this clothing, right? And he wasn't being mean, he was being honest. And what was important for me in that moment was I was seeking advice from a mentor about something that was annoying me, right? It was just annoying. But the way that he responded was like, why are you even making that a problem? Woman, if you don't want to be noticed, calm it down. But if you're going to be all that you want to be, then that comes with it. And I would say that that was probably really good advice because it was unexpected. I was whining, and all I wanted somebody to do was whine with me. And here you go trying to give good advice. But his statement was true, which is, and I talked about this when I gave the speech. If you accept your purpose and understand it, accept that it'll show up in ways outside of your control. And he was going, stop worrying about that stuff. The reason why they're talking to you is because you meant something to them. Stop being worried about whether or not they're there trying to find out that you're buying Zuppa Toscana.
So advice number one, don't you dare ever go into an interview or a sales meeting or a pitch without asking for the business. And tell them, have the confidence to say, I want this. You will not be disappointed. I am so excited. I can't wait to get started. Thank you for considering me. Always ask because nobody does. The second thing is, the second you leave the meeting and you walk out that door, forget it ever happened. Go back to doing what it was that made them interested in you in the first place. Because if you are operating with excellence and you're knocking it out of the park at what you're currently doing, there's always going to be opportunities coming your way. So that'll help you do your best during the interview, the pitch, the negotiation, whatever. And it'll also help you not get wrapped around the axle mentally and feel desperate about landing it. Because trust me, you keep performing with excellence, there's nothing but opportunities coming at you.
To throw out the playbook and make your own map towards success, and to not eliminate all the things that make me, that make you, that make us unique, compelling, and valuable, which are our flaws, scars, and awkwardness. Those are the building blocks for a map towards success.